It's about that time of day again. My name is Joseph. Monday evening, September the 18th. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. We're covering crude oil, S&P, gold, Nasdaq, and euro tonight. Crude is bearish and trying to retest today's low, but this afternoon's close was mighty bullish. So I'm waiting for the bulls to try and fail before looking for selling opportunities back to the low on Tuesday. The S&P is bullish with a spike in range, which tells me to avoid the middle, be skeptical of new highs, and look for seller failures below the low of the range tomorrow. The Nasdaq is also bullish with a spike in range, which tells me to look for buying opportunities using the 2-try rule and a target going back to the prior month high. Gold is bearish with a very strong move lower since last Friday, which tells me to stay patient for selling opportunities using a 2-legged correction up in the battle zone on Tuesday. And of course, the euro is slightly bullish, more of a spike and range, another balanced environment telling us to focus on failures and sell the high, buy the low, and avoid the middle on Tuesday. Boy, the key word for tonight into Tuesday's session is balance. And we're going to see a bunch of great examples of what balance looks like on a chart, as well as how to trade that balance correctly, finding the most reliable trading opportunities. Speaking of reliable trading opportunities, I got a great newsletter in store for you guys and gals tonight. We got plenty of great opportunities setting up for Tuesday's session. But of course, before we jump in and take a look at the plan for tomorrow, I want to remind you the only place to watch the full-length version of this video is here on our blog at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching the video right now on our YouTube channel, not to worry, there's a link in the description of that YouTube video. Follow that link. Come here to the blog at Sideways Markets and join me for the full-length version. While you're here, don't forget, join the mailing list. I'll send you an email every evening when the nightly newsletter goes live. Lower left-hand corner, don't forget to follow me on social media, StockTwits, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm always posting important charts, links, and updates throughout the week. And speaking of charts, don't forget to grab those charts and have them ready on your computer for tomorrow, right where it says click here to download today's charts. How easy is that? All the charts from tonight's video, have them ready on your computer for tomorrow's trading session, right? Make sure you grab that link below the video tonight on the blog. And don't forget, make sure you grab that free pass. If you're not a member here at School of Trade, what are you waiting for? Grab that free pass. You're going to learn more with me on that free pass than you will anywhere else on the interwebs. I can pretty much guarantee that. And if you have any questions, you know I'm always here standing by. I love to provide a high level of service and support to all of my clients. Use that live support tool on the right-hand side, and I'll help you answer your questions, right, lickety split. Looking good. Hope you guys had a great weekend out there. Back from a little quadruple witching break. We had rollover. We got some balance to talk about here for tomorrow's session. Before we jump in, though, and take a look at the charts, let's grab a look at tomorrow's schedule. Tomorrow is Tuesday, September the 19th. Tomorrow, of course, before we get to tomorrow, though, no major news in the overnight session. So if you're looking at London, right, or should I say Asia into London tomorrow, not a lot to worry about in the overnight session. Tomorrow, we have the beginning of the 2-day FOMC, right, meeting. We won't hear about that until, of course, Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Not going to have to worry too much tomorrow about the FOMC. You will start hearing folks talk about that, though, tomorrow morning. Shouldn't have much of an impact for us tomorrow in the trade room, but I will say we get a peppering of news tomorrow morning. Of course, if you're in London, you get the Zoo survey, very similar to consumer confidence, but for business owners in Germany. That is not listed as a major market-moving event, but it is a pretty important news event. You will likely see, right, that Zoo survey turn some heads tomorrow morning if you're trading the London session. Then, of course, don't forget, we're going to open up in our trade room tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And we have just a little bit of news here. Housing starts, of course, here in the U.S., manufacturing, right, in Canada, and, of course, we get the current accounts and imports, export prices. We get a lot of news tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., and that's pretty much the meat and potatoes tomorrow for the economic news calendar. So get to it early, right, on the ZEW, right, the Zoo survey at 5 a.m., or come out and join me tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll kick off what should be a great Tuesday session with those peppering of 8:30 a.m. news. And then, of course, tomorrow night, we'll come back tomorrow night. We'll talk about the plan for the FOMC announcement on Wednesday. Let's dive right in here. Get our news under control here for tomorrow. Shall we take a look here at some charts? The key word tonight is balance, right? But balance, of course, right? Balance meaning buyers and sellers agreeing on a range of prices. Now, the majority of the balance is going to come on the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Euro tonight. We'll talk briefly about balance here on crude oil at least at this point, right? But stay tuned for more, and we'll start seeing more ways in which we can increase, right, that balance for tomorrow. Don't forget here on crude, we did roll over on Friday to the 1117 contract, right? So don't adjust your television set out there, kiddos, right? This is not the 1017 contract any longer. Don't forget, crude oil will usually roll over around the 18th of every month. Of course, today being the 18th, right, you definitely want to be looking out for rollover. It did roll over last Friday. Now, of course, with that said, crude is bearish and trying to retest today's low, but this move higher to finish today's session was very, very strong, telling me that buyers will most likely try one more time to reverse the trend. Now, my goal for tomorrow is to wait and see those buyers try again, looking for signs of failure and selling opportunities back down to retest today's low. If the buyers are successful, then the plan is to look for a two-legged pullback above that battle zone with a target going up to the prior week high. Boy, what a beautiful chart here tonight. And again, we'll talk more about how balance plays into this in just a moment. As you can see here, nice big strong move up, didn't last very long, and the bottom fell out of it. By the time we came in this morning in our trade room at 8 o'clock Eastern time, we were looking to sell into this move, right, for another leg down. Now, as you can see, there's no measured move here. The measured move is a little bit further down, and since, of course, now we have a new higher high, that measured move is going to be a lot larger, right? So as of right now, measured move is still very much to be determined. Most important thing right now is that bear channel, right? Bear channel, beautiful channel rotation from the high down to the low, low to the high, right? High down to the low. And of course, with that channel rotation, we're expecting to see price go up into the battle zone and then a move back down to retest the low. The only challenge right now is the strength of this move going higher, right? One very interesting part about this is you'll notice where the day began is pretty much where the day ended, right? That leads us to believe there may have been, right, a little bit less of a trending environment today and a little bit more of a balanced environment. Boy, it sure looked pretty bearish to me, right, until the very tail end of this session. The bottom line is we have a strong bear market going down. That leads me to believe that we should be seeing a move up to attract enough sellers and a retest of that low. Right now, the sellers are trying to go back and retest that 49.68. Who has control? The bears. Where is their objective? Down at that low at 49.68. If they can get through that low, then we can start worrying about a larger measured move. Where are we right now? We're right inside the battle zone right now, right? The battle zone, of course, being those next two swings up the ladder. The problem is that we have this very strong move higher. Now, whenever we see a strong move in one direction, what usually happens? We usually see a second attempt, in this case, to make new highs. So that's the reason why I'm not recommending a straight failure for a selling opportunity going back down, right? The strength of this move higher tells me there are probably going to be buyers waiting below that swing, trying to get a trap low, right? That's where I'd be looking if I were a buyer, trying to get a trap low below that prior swing and trying to get that market, right, pushing higher. So a couple things I'm watching here for tomorrow. Most of it has to do with the buyers failing right now. Let's play that game. What if price goes higher? What if price goes lower? What if price goes sideways here? Well, first of all, let's stick to the downside here first. Let's say, for example, that we see this market fail to go higher, right, and collapse down. Now, when we collapse down, that will definitely be the green light now, or should I say the confirmation that we need that buyers are not holding control here or taking control. The problem at that point will be we're going to be a little bit too close to be selling down to that low, right? I want to sell nice and high. So in that situation, I'll use that prior swing and I'll look for a selling opportunity with a trap high back down from there. So again, assuming these buyers fail, again, like I said earlier, normally I would suggest that failure pattern, right? That failure pattern down around 50.20, but the strength of this move higher just makes me a little bit nervous trying to fade that move, right? Again, especially when you look at kind of where the day began and where the day, right, finished up today. So we might be in store here for just a big rotation back up to retest today's high. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So the bottom line is, rather than trying to predict this failure here, I'd like to see a little bit more proof. Want to see a strong move back down, probably somewhere around that round number at 50. I'm not going to sell there, obviously. I want to sell high, and I'd like to use that prior level of resistance. There might be a trend line coming down at that point as well, right? And we can use that now for selling opportunities going back down in. So that's my plan with buyers failing, right? The hard part's going to be if the market just collapses here. Let's say, for example, the market just collapses back down. If we come in tomorrow morning and we're down around these lows at 8 o'clock Eastern time, collapsing overnight, then we have to be really careful not to sell high and want to keep focused on traps, right? Keep focused on traps. If we find ourselves and the only option here is to sell low, whenever the only option is to sell low, I always recommend, right, we stick to traps, trap high, to sell high in this situation, right? So rather than selling low, right, let's sell high, trap high, buyer failure, right, above the moving average, trying to get up off of that low for tomorrow. What if price goes higher here? Well, this is where things should get pretty interesting, right? If we do see price go higher here, what I'm watching for is I'm watching to see what it feels like as the market pushes through those highs. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see this up and back in. We'll talk about that scenario coming right up next, right? What I want to see is I want to see it explode higher, right? Nice and strong, right? That explosiveness, I won't be surprised at all because of where we finished the day today, right? Compared to where we started the day today, right? Like I mentioned earlier, right? We started the day right there, right? And we pretty much finished it right where the day began, right? That leads me to believe this is nothing more than just a, kind of a range-bound market in a trending market's clothing, right? So to speak, right? Acting as a trending market, but in all reality, short covering rally sends the price back to where it came from here today. So bottom line is very strong move higher. If we see this continue going higher here now draw that across, right? And then two-legged trap low. Again, I don't want to buy high up here, right? I don't want to buy high, right? Buying into the high of day. I don't want to buy up there, right? I want to buy low, but I do need to see enough strength going higher to tell me that we have the confidence now, right, to be a buyer. And when we do see that, then we can come in and we can buy low with what I call a fake out breakout pullback, right? Buying that two-legged, right, trap low for the move going higher. Speaking of move going higher, where'd the targets be? Targets are definitely going to be that prior week high and that prior month high. 50.97, 51.06, right? Those are some big milestones overhead. Now, I would be remiss if I did not take advantage of the opportunity to talk more about balance, right? The key word here for tomorrow, not so much on crude oil, right? But stick around for the rest of these markets tonight, and you'll see great examples of balance. What if we can't go lower? What if we can't go higher? What if we start trading sideways here? Well, in that situation, that of course, right, we'll call that balance. Strong move up into its balance area. Now remember, I call it balance because buyers are happy, sellers are happy, right? Sellers aren't going to sell low, right? The buyers aren't going to buy high, and the market goes sideways in a balanced market. Now, this is very similar to what we're going to see on the S&P and the Nasdaq, and that is a bullish move that goes into balance. Now, as the price pulls back, buyers are going to be waiting down below that balance area to buy it right back up. The key is to look for the one try, two try, and then buy. Basically what you're doing is, and this of course will ring a bell with any market profile theorists or auction market theorists out there, when a market goes out of balance, what happens, right? Buyers and sellers will then come into the market to send price back into balance. Maybe you've read about auction market theory where traders will try to fade the edges, right, of the balanced or market profile range. The bottom line is if the market starts going sideways on the chart, if we're not making strong higher highs, if we're not collapsing right away from this area here where the day began, like I said earlier, right, we'll call that balance. That balance will have that short-term bullish, right, that short-term bullish tone to it. And so the goal will be to look for those buying opportunities when the market goes out of balance. And again, right, focus on the edges. When you see a market go balanced, flat moving average, higher lows, lower highs, double tops, double bottoms, as we discussed tonight, when you see a market go out of balance or go in balance like that, wait for the market to go out of balance and look for those failures going back into balance. Boy, I could talk about balanced markets and the strategy for trading balanced markets so the cows come home, but I run out of your valuable time tonight, so thank you so much for tuning in. We do this newsletter every evening, Monday through Thursday evening. Last week, of course, was quad witching. We're back for a full week here. Before I let you guys go, don't forget, if you're on the YouTube channel right now, there's a link in the description of the YouTube channel, right? Follow that link. Come over to the website at schooloftrade.com. Make sure you join our free trial. We'll talk about how to trade balanced markets and those imbalanced markets on that free trial. You're going to learn a lot on that free trial. And don't forget, if you want to take the next step to becoming a successful, a consistently profitable trader, right? Quitting that job, getting those results you want. Don't forget our beginner, intermediate, and advanced courses are some of the best in the business. I'm a little bit biased, obviously. I think they're the absolute best in the business, and I think our newsletter, right, helps to prove that to you guys. Don't forget, I'm always here, standing by 24/7. Hit me up on live support if you guys have any questions. Our trade room opens up tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I look forward to seeing you there. If not, we'll do it same time, same place tomorrow evening before 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph. Thanks for being here. Be well. Be nice to each other, will ya? And be here next time. Adios, amigos.